On March 29, 2026, something happened in Guangzhou, China, that the auto industry did not see coming. Toyota, the company critics spent 3 years calling too slow, too cautious, too late to electric, put a new electric sedan on sale in BYD's home market. Within the first hour, 3,100 customers placed firm orders, not reservations, orders. In the most brutal electric car market on Earth, in the one country where BYD holds every advantage, a Toyota sold out its opening hour. But here is the part that makes this story genuinely strange. That sedan, the Toyota BZ7, was built with Chinese technology. The motor comes from Huawei. The cockpit software comes from Huawei. The driver assistance system comes from a Chinese company called Momenta, and it is one of 5 vehicles Toyota is deploying in 2026. 5 machines aimed at 5 different battlegrounds in its contest with BYD. Today, we are going to score all 5 front by front, what each one targets, where it actually competes, and whether it can win. And by the end, you will have an honest answer to the question the hype videos keep dodging. Can Toyota actually win this thing? First, understand what Toyota is up against, because the numbers explain everything that follows. In 2025, BYD sold roughly 4.5 million vehicles worldwide, enough to pass Ford and become the 5th best-selling car brand on the planet, and enough to make it the world's largest seller of pure electric vehicles. BYD's founder has publicly vowed to overtake Toyota as the world's largest automaker within 5 years. Toyota, for reference, moved about 10.5 million vehicles in the same year. The gap is still enormous, but the direction of travel is not. And here is the detail that reshapes this entire story. BYD cannot sell you a car in America. Tariffs on Chinese-built electric vehicles have effectively locked its passenger cars out of the United States, and BYD's own leadership says it plans to reach number 1 without the American market at all. Which means the Toyota versus BYD war is not one battle. It is a series of regional campaigns fought in China, in Europe, in Southeast Asia, in Latin America, and yes, in America, where only one of the 2 companies can actually show up. Keep that map in your head, because it is the key to understanding why Toyota built these 5 specific machines. We will start where the fight is hardest. Front 1, China. The weapon, the BZ7. And this is the vehicle that tells you Toyota has fundamentally changed how it thinks. On paper, the BZ7 is a full-size electric fastback sedan from GAC Toyota, the company's joint venture in Guangzhou. It stretches past 5.1 meters, longer than a Tesla Model S, rides on a 3-meter wheelbase, and offers lithium iron phosphate battery packs of 71 and 88 kilowatt hours, good for up to 700 kilometers of range on China's test cycle, roughly 435 miles. With launch incentives, pricing runs from about $21,500 to $29,000. A sedan bigger than a Model S, priced below a base Model 3. But the specification sheet is not the story. The story is who built it. The electric drive unit is Huawei's Drive One system. The cockpit runs Huawei's Harmony OS software. The driver assistance suite, 27 sensors and a roof-mounted LiDAR covering city streets and highways, comes from Momenta, one of China's leading autonomy firms. The cabin even integrates Xiaomi's smart home ecosystem, so the car talks to your appliances. Strip the badge off, and the BZ7's brains and muscles are Chinese. Think about what that means. Toyota, the most self-reliant engineering culture in this industry, the company that built its reputation on doing everything in-house, looked at China's software race and concluded it could not win alone. So instead of fighting Chinese technology, it hired Chinese technology, wrapped it in Toyota's build quality and Toyota's badge, and priced it like a local. That is not a compromise. That is the most clear-eyed strategic decision Toyota has made in a decade. And the market answered. 3,100 orders in 60 minutes, 7,000 within 3 weeks. Our verdict on this front: this is Toyota's strongest play, and its most revealing. Winning in China required admitting that, on software, China is now the teacher. The BZ7 stays a China-only product for now, but the lesson it carries travels everywhere. Front 2, America, the one major battlefield where BYD cannot follow. And this is where the strategy gets clever, because Toyota's American weapons are not what you would expect. The first is the 2026 BZ, the renamed and heavily reworked successor to the BZ4X. The old car was, honestly, one of the weakest electric vehicles Toyota ever shipped. Modest range, slow charging, uncompetitive pricing. The new one is a different machine. The larger 74.7 kilowatt-hour battery pushes the front-wheel drive XLE Plus to an EPA-estimated 314 miles, 62 more than before. All-wheel drive versions now produce 338 horsepower, up from 214, and reach 60 in around 4.9 seconds. Every version gets a native Tesla-style charging port with access to the supercharger network, and independent testing has taken the battery from 10 to 80% in 26 minutes. And the base price fell to $34,900, over $2,000 less than last year. It is still not the best electric crossover you can buy, but for the first time, it is genuinely competitive. And for a brand selling to loyalists who have never owned an EV, competitive is enough. The second American weapon is the more interesting one, the 2026 RAV4 plug-in hybrid. The RAV4 is America's best-selling SUV, and for 2026, the entire lineup went hybrid only. The plug-in flagship now makes 324 horsepower and covers an EPA-estimated 52 miles on electricity alone, enough for most daily driving in America, then runs as a 41-mile-per-gallon hybrid after that. The Kia Sportage plug-in manages 33 electric miles. The Nissan Rogue plug-in manages 38. And Toyota cut the starting price to $42,950, down from over $45,500, with a lineup running from the base SE through a rugged woodland trim to a $49,950 GR Sport. Here is why this matters strategically. BYD's global advantage is cheap, capable electric cars and plug-in hybrids. In America, that advantage does not exist, and Toyota is filling the exact same space with the plug-in RAV4 before anyone else can. Verdict on this front: Toyota wins in America partly by forfeit, but do not mistake it for luck. Flooding the market with hybrids, while rivals bet everything on pure EVs, is the same move that made the Prius a phenomenon, running 20 years later. Front 3, the legends. And this is where we have to correct the record, because this is the front the hype coverage gets most wrong. Yes, the Toyota Hilux, the indestructible pickup that has crossed the Sahara and outlasted everything thrown at it, is finally going electric. The battery electric Hilux launched in Australia this year in double cab S, R, and SR5 grades, with dual motors, permanent all-wheel drive, a terrain management system, and the same weighting depth as the diesel. That much is true. But look at the numbers the excited videos skip. The battery is 59.2 kilowatt hours. Range on the tougher European test cycle is roughly 240 kilometers, about 150 miles. Payload drops to around 715 kilograms versus more than a full ton for the diesel. Towing falls to 1,600 kilograms versus 3,500 for the diesel. It costs 74,990 Australian dollars, 17,000 more than the comparable diesel. And Toyota Australia itself forecasts around 500 sales this year. 500 out of roughly 50,000 Hiluxes it sells in a normal year. This is not a BYD killer. It is a back-to-base work tool for mines, farms, and fleets that need zero emissions on site. A careful first step, deliberately aimed away from BYD's Shark 6 pickup rather than at it. The Land Cruiser EV is one step further back. What exists today is the Land Cruiser C concept, a sleek unibody, 3-row luxury SUV more than 5 meters long, plus prototypes now testing in the open and reports of American production plans. Toyota's stated ambitions for its next-generation batteries stretch as far as 600 miles of range. But be clear-eyed here. Every Land Cruiser EV number you have heard is a target, not a specification, and the production vehicle has not launched. What is confirmed is the philosophy. The electric version will sell alongside the hybrid Land Cruiser, not replace it. Verdict on this front: the weakest of the three today and the most defensively smart. Toyota is electrifying its icon slowly, on its own terms, protecting 75 years of reputation rather than gambling it. Whether that patience reads as wisdom or hesitation depends entirely on how fast the market moves. So, pull the three fronts together, and the shape of Toyota's plan finally comes into focus. And it is not the plan the thumbnails promise. Toyota is not trying to out-EV BYD everywhere. It is trying to make BYD's advantages irrelevant, one market at a time. In China, where BYD's edge is software and price, Toyota bought the software and matched the price. In America, where BYD's edge does not exist, Toyota is racing to own the plug-in hybrid space before the door ever opens. And, with the Legends, it is refusing to fight at all until the technology can carry the badge without embarrassing it. Set that against BYD's strategy, and you get the real contest of this decade. BYD builds only electric and plug-in vehicles, controls its own batteries and supply chain, and is expanding through Europe, Latin America, and Southeast Asia at a pace no legacy automaker can match. Toyota is betting on every powertrain at once: hybrid, plug-in, battery electric, even hydrogen. One company is all in on a single answer. The other is spread across the whole table, betting that most of the world will electrify slower than the headlines claim. So, can Toyota's counterattack work? Our honest scorecard. In China, the BZ7 proves Toyota can compete on Chinese terms. A genuine win. In America, the BZ and the plug-in RAV4 give Toyota the strongest electrified mainstream lineup in a market its rival cannot enter. A win, with an asterisk. With the Legends, the jury is out, and will be for years. Toyota does not need to beat BYD everywhere. It needs to hold America, stay credible in China, and keep the icons intact until its next-generation batteries arrive. On today's evidence, that is exactly what these 5 vehicles are built to do. And if you are an American buyer, wondering what any of this means for your own driveway, 2 of the 5 are your business. If you want a pure EV with supercharger access from a brand famous for lasting, the new BZ finally deserves a serious look. If you want electric range savings without ever depending on a charger, the plug-in RAV4 is, right now, the most complete answer in its class. The BZ7 and the Hilux EV, you can admire them from here. They were never aimed at you. So here is where we leave it. Toyota's 5-car plan is real, it is smarter than the hype suggests, and its boldest idea is also its most humbling. Sometimes the way to beat your rival is to learn from them first. Whose bet would you take, Toyota's 5 paths or BYD's 1? Drop your answer in the comments, because we read every single one. And if this breakdown gave you a clearer picture than the hype did, subscribe and tell us which vehicle you want us to break down next. Thanks for watching.